Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESL Go4GW2 Cup number 27. Apologise for the light that is apparently emanating from my chest as the sun actually starts to shine in England. But yeah, I've just got to remove someone from the arena as well. But other than that, we are in the semi-final, isn't that right, Mr. Divok?
Yeah, and it's been a long old trip here, but it's been a fantastic one at that. Our round of 16 match could have quite easily been a final from a previous ESL tournament. As could the quarterfinal, I'm sure this will line up to be just as good. And then, of course, we have our final as well, which is going to be absolutely fantastic if any of the previous games have been anything to go by.
Indeed, and the scores have been corrected, just in case anyone in game or also the Twitch stream is wondering why they haven't been changed. I just changed them, so we're just waiting for a couple of more members to join up. We're just going to remind ourselves of the builds over on the red team, so we jump into Misha's perspective, and it's gone back over onto Mesmer now, actually playing with the staff and the great sword, as well as the vampirism rune there and the berserker's amulet. Let's just check his build out actually to make sure nothing major has been changed there. He's going for that polymorph Mower as well, which is going to be very beneficial for the team. Going over to Munapar, who's still going to be playing that Dagger Elementalist with the usual traits and utilities, I am assuming. And then also going over to Zan, who's playing that Celestial Rifle Engineer, of course, going with that Vampirism rune, as well as going for the Elixir S, which he opts to go for instead of Slick Shoes. Did we see him see Slick Shoes earlier in the day?
Earlier he was using Slick Shoes. He used it very effectively once or twice, actually.
It's very rare.
Interesting to see him going for that. Maybe he's fearing. I mean, he's seen the enemy line up, and I'd be pretty scared of that.
Yeah, Elixir S is going to help mitigate a lot of that damage and also get him out of... Actually get some nice stomps as well. We haven't got the Guardian in there, so he could be stomping a little bit more, but obviously Misha's gone over towards Mesmer, and we are going to go over to Red Levin quickly. He's going to be playing the Dagger Pistol. He's going to be going for Panic Strike build, and he's also going to be running that Vamp Rune, as well as going for the Signet instead of the Blinding Powder, and of course Skull Kid finally, who's going to be running a Shoutbow Warrior. And he loves getting in all those awkward places. He's opting for the Fimi, of course, as well as the Battle Standard. No one really going for that on my mark unless they're kind of using two Sharpbow Warriors, so they can have that extra cooldown and, of course, that extra vulnerability on their target of 10. And Divok's going to take us through the blue team.
So we've got oRNG on the blue team. Starting straight off, we have someone who's not from oRNG. I'm assuming on the roster, so no worries about them getting DQ'd or anything. We've got Cinder on the Dagger Pistol Thief here, running pretty much a mirror build of what you just saw on Red Levin. Dengineer is going to be playing your Celestial Rifle Engineer. Nothing new here, it's all pretty much the same stuff, including the old Power Wrench there. Rom, going to be your Shoutbow Warrior, no surprises there whatsoever. Rom is the Shoutbow Warrior, and of course we saw him and his 4 Shoutbow Warrior friends just a couple of days ago, so we know how much this guy loves Shoutbow. And then we've got a bit of a change-up, which is Frey, or Frelina, as many of you may know him, who usually plays Thief, on a DPS Guardian. Going to be going with your standard DPS Guardian traits. And then, of course, the player we're missing is Tage, who, if he's not on a DPS Guardian, I will eat my shoe.
We did see oRNG actually playing a 5-man Shoutbow Warrior team on Thursday, of course, which was interesting, having won that tournament.
I mean, it won, yeah, so...
It was a very, very long games, unfortunately. No, actually, fortunately, it was kind of interesting to see, but they were quite long-winded. We're just waiting for the 5th member. We did see Tage coming in, actually, so just wondering what he's going to come back in on. Probably, maybe... Might just, you never know. Maybe we'll even see the Bunker Guardian return. Who knows? If Blackjack's not here, we haven't got that extra support coming out from him, or a Dagger Elementalist, so that's an option as well. I don't think Tage. I'm not sure if I've seen Tage play that, so we'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, this is actually quite a big anticipated game. I think, really, in our minds, we were kind of predicting that this was going to be something we wanted to see quite early in the tournament as well. And also, some nice predictions in chat might be quite nice. See who we think is going to win. Do the hashtag oRNG or hashtag 55 rank feat, sorry. And yeah, hopefully we're going to see Tage at some point. How do we think this map's going to go? We are going to see, obviously, Misha going on to Mesmer is going to bring them a ton of mobility around the map. And having worked together with various, well, pretty much with all of these players at different points in time, We could possibly see some nice movement for these guys. Got to keep an eye out on the Mesmer, of course. Tage is actually back in the game, and he's on the Hammer Medigard, so that's going to be...
Double Medigard.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Good luck.
If I was Zan, I'd be very happy with my Elixir S right now.
Yes! And if I was Misha,
Two
I'd be...
Meditation Guardians is going to hurt. But of course they lack mobility in that sense. Their Meditation Guardians are known for not particularly being the most mobile of DPS classes, and on the enemy team we're up against a Thief and a Mesmer. So that is certainly going to be moving around the map a lot, and we saw in the previous game that Misha and Red Levin certainly have a lot of synergy. They were working incredibly well as the pair of the duo Pain Train in that game to burst targets down very, very fast. So I'll be looking for them to do the same here, and then even more so because they have things like Portal in which they can play with as a pair, and of course Mower as well.
Okay, just checking out the chat at the moment. Something seems to be occurring.
Apparently Freya was missing a point in his build, which I probably should have pointed out, but I just saw the general trait spread and it looked fine. People have whispered him saying he was missing one. There you go, he's not missing one anymore. He's got a full trait set up.
Sometimes these casters we kind of look over the build and we see the points where they need to be, and you know the assumption is there that they're going to put those points in. Well, yeah. They have.
I barely look at the numbers anymore, so that's a good and a bad thing. I have missed once or twice, like I don't know, like a Thief not taking Panic Strike and taking something else instead, or small things like that.
Okie dokie. So we do have all members in this game. First game of this series and the semi-final of the ESL Go4GW2 Cup, number 27. The first of the cups, which will determine who will get the points to actually go into the WTS qualifiers. The higher you get, obviously gives you more points, and obviously we still have the cash up for grabs, we still have the gems up for grabs as well, and we have some llamas as well for these guys that get through that first round, of course. We are going to start this first game quite soon.
The match starts soon.
There we go.
So Divok's going to go through these games in this series, in the opening. Just going to take turns, I think. It's probably the best thing in this series, wise. So guys, welcome again. We have oRNG on the blue team, rank 55, Dragons on the red team, and Divok.
And we see a very, very aggressive split straight away. All 5 of oRNG crossing across. They're actually going to miss out the 3 from 55 rank who are crossing Invis as well. So both teams, 5 members of oRNG walking past 3 members of 55 rank Dragons, and no one seeing each other. We're going to see a 3-man engage onto the mine point. Rom getting on there to make sure that Misha doesn't get the cap. And it's going to be Misha alone versus 3. He's going to try and get away as quickly as possible, and that one's going to be how that happens. It's going to be a 2v2 over on mid with Frey and Denchi holding off against Skullkid. Moonapai with Red Levin coming in for a bit of backup. So Frey's going to be careful here as he's probably going to be the target. Does drop that ring of warding though, so if he does get engaged on, he's pretty safe. And indeed, Red Levin decides twice about jumping into that ring of warding.
Ring of warding, the supply great combo there from those guys. Misha unfortunately is going to be dropped over towards the boss. Not sure what happened there, did just miss that movement coming out from those guys. I'm suspecting that Syndranir went for the engagement on him, unfortunately, as I was distracted by kind of the action was going over on the mid. As Tage starts to bail here, but away from Red Levin. Red Levin wants to take him out as soon as possible, or at least get him down low as we go over into this mid fight now. What Up Frey is going to come up and actually try and get some support onto him as the fight starts to evolve over on this midpoint.
Yeah, meanwhile, Rom went over for the decap on Far, so he's going to be able to hold that 1v1 versus Zan. Of course, like I said before, Zan probably will be able to get the decap there, the recap rather. But meanwhile, there are no points coming in whatsoever for rank 55, so great job coming out from oRNG to make that happen. And they're probably going to be winning on mid as well. Skullkid dropping pretty low on the midpoint, because he does have both DPS Guardians right behind him, following him around. He's going to go for the parkour style here, but Tage showing him that he can do that too. Leaping across it with a number 2 on hammer, Skullkid managing to leap away with a number 2 on sword though, which is got a bit more range to it.
Yeah, exactly. A nice movement from Skullkid, actually, proving that he's definitely good at knowing where to go on this map with his parkour skills coming out. Now, I see the problem. The only problem really from blue team is the amount of actual support that they're getting out of their builds at the moment and out of the actual team. Rom being 1v1 over on this henge point means that Frey's actually come over to join him because that's where the support is, and he's actually bailed off node there. He's protecting Rom as well as he moves up through out towards the stairs there to try and get back onto the point. Unfortunately, in the end, they did get the cap there. Zan's able to get the pick up as he moves over towards to get some extra damage down onto Rom, as Misha starts to also move across there to try and take Rom out as well. But now he's moved back over onto the point. We're going to see him go quite low himself as the pressure comes out from What Up Frey, and he's going to move out midpoint as well. 2 side caps coming up from Red, very strong at the moment.
And there might be the 3 cap as well as they take Denchi down. Moonpie is dropping quite low. They do get the stomp on Denchi though. Will they be able to 3 cap oRNG? What is happening?
So
Cinder has jumped up to the top, and I think it's that support that you were talking about. They're so used to running with that Elementalist that they have that support alongside them, and without that support they can't spread across caps like they usually do, especially with Rom being away from the fight, as you've said. And they've lost for a 3 cap now, and it's actually 55 ranked Dragons who are going to be taking the lead in the early stages of this game.
Blackjack's a big part of this team. I mean, just that support build and going for the extra damage. And like you said before we even started about the mobility there as well, you know, Blackjack offers up that great sword, you know, you can pick it up, you can defend your points, so we can actually go for the offensive sometimes and help out the nodes instead of holding the points, because he's got that good, you know, retreat ability where he can actually get back to the point and hold it quite well, which we see very constantly coming out from him. But unfortunately, you know, they're not able to do that. And Rom being 1v1 in that situation when he's got the war banner as well, probably not the best thing for them in the end. And we have seen them suffer for that now. But blue team did pick up a node quite quickly as they were starting to respawn or move back towards the henge point now. We have seen Denchineer had to use the... oh god. We did actually see him use Elixir S. It's so unusual to see him using that as well. He uses it from time to time, but not all the time. Now he's in a better position to be in that 1v1. Tage going to try and come in to actually finish off Zan quite quickly as well, but that's going to be quite challenging.
Meanwhile, on mid, the stomp on Skull could connect, so they've already taken the support out there, and this is what we were saying should be happening. Rom should be with the team, supporting them, and he's done that in this fight. They've already taken out Skull Kid. I believe that's Moonapai up on the top there, taken out as well, and now it's just Misha left to defend against these 3. That was a fantastic 3v3 coming out for oRNG, and showing that they do have the support when they need it. Red 11 rotating now to try and peel for a bit for Misha, but of course he is just a thief, and there's a DPS Guardian right on his tail. There's another DPS Guardian right on the tail. The blinks from these 2 look absolutely fantastic, and Red 11 is going to escape just barely with half his life remaining. Misha, however, not so lucky.
Yeah, unfortunately. Oh, we're going to see the war banner coming out as well there. Misha ports back through that portal, of course, to get back up to mid. To what's Rom? Oh, Rom is just over on the side of the point there. Didn't actually get back in time. I think he got a little bit caught out there. He did get off node, unfortunately. He must have been immobilized.
That was a knockback from Zan on the rifle. Very nice knockback on him. And then the mower as well, dropping the crate as well to try and defend there. Not necessarily going to do too much, as Rom is going to be able to escape with his life, only losing half it through mower, and he's going to be able to regroup with the rest of his team here.
Good there, because he actually had to get off point so they could get the decap, but Rom's going to try and come back and support the rest of his team now, bringing down Red 11. Now this fight has actually kind of moved towards him. They can actually do a good job of trying to win it. What Up Frey is actually going for a bit of focus damage himself, coming back into the point now. Probably going to pick Misha as the main target as he goes down so low and gets taken out by Syndranir as he ports up to the top there, and we are going to see him taken out of the fight. Now blue team seems to be picking it up as they start to group up as a team. Rom is going to move again over towards the henge, but is really was probably the only person who at the time who was actually thinking about moving there, but we need some backup. Syndranir coming in as well as Tage moving over towards the mine now. We are going to see the mine should be safe for now as they start to push out from that point and move into the rest of the map.
Yeah, Denchineer tried to go 1v1 versus Moonapai there, but wasn't even on point, and then Red 11 came in with a huge burst, bringing him down quite low. He does have the support of his Guardian now, though, and Syndranir going for the cheeky decap there isn't quite going to get it, but he is going to force Moonapai to stay on there and get the recap. Do him and Tage want to re-engage? I assume they don't. Tage would have re-engaged. They are going to Shadow Refuge up. They are actually going to go back, and Red 11 seeing that has Shadow Refuge himself, but it's going to go towards midpoint instead, so thinking that he can perhaps get a pick off on Denchi maybe?
Oh wow, the burst onto Moonapai is really, really good, but unfortunately look at that survival coming out from him. Great movement. He's just trying to line of sight for now until he gets some support, and as soon as that comes in he should move back up top and actually uses that Earth forfeit skill there to actually stop Syndranir from getting some nice burst off. That was a really good move from the Elementalist there. Really good.
Yeah, nice use of the map there, and of course Skullkid is here to back him up now. Should be able to keep him going, although the damage coming out from these two is very, very strong. That's one thing you've got to worry about. Even though you should be winning a 2v2 against the Pain Train as a pair of sustainable characters, you have to watch out for that burst, and they're getting it onto Moonpie. They're jumping straight on top of him. They're not giving it any space, but then the Red Living comes in with a counter burst. Tage is down, and that's going to be the end of this fight.
Yeah, good job from the Thief there. Zan coming out of the Henge area, actually trying to get that decap. And actually, Tage going down over on the mine means the red team can push back into the rest of the map, maybe push mid here, as we see those guys pushing out. Zan's just trying to keep the point contested, actually keeping Rom out of the fight, which might start to happen over towards the mid now. I can see red team members coming over towards this point, Red Levin thinking about moving over towards the Henge now, as well as also Syndra near side by side pretty much, as they start to engage on each other from the side. And Misha, of course, is down here as well. No res coming out for him, unfortunately, as the rest of the blue team start to just back up onto the Henge.
Yeah, you said that Zan was perhaps trying to pull Rom away from the fight, but sadly what he did is he just pulled the fight to him.
Yeah.
oRNG deciding, you know what, we're not going to let you take our support character away. We're just going to rotate everyone on top of you. They're actually going to leave him there. Frey is going to watch that because they don't have the full cap there either, so that was a bit of a risky move. Now they're going to move over towards mid where they already have this cap, so Denshin has done a fantastic job, as well as Tage, of standing on this point and rotating on and off it between themselves to make sure they have it until Rom can get here and stand on it. Now they have their support, they can go for the kills.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, good job. Exactly what you said as well. Red Levin unfortunately going down. Tage able to see that from the top, and he's going to be able to get that nice cleave down to put him out. Skullkid tries to drop down from the side, from the top of the keep as well. Maybe thinking about going for a bit of a res, but he's just going to go back on the node and keep it contested. Blue team start to push far ahead now with a lead of about 75-80 points now as we move into the rest of the game. And mine is the only point we see ticking at the moment. We're having a bit of a problem over on the Henge, trying to keep this node with Zan at the moment, although they do take out Frey now. Should be able to pick up the point and move into the rest of the map. We are going to see Tage coming in, having a look at his perspective as he moves into the point now. Being kind of brave there. He's probably going to actually move back and disengage unless he's going to get some support from Syndra there. That's not going to happen, so we are going to see this mid fight kind of evolve as well.
Yeah, over on the mid fight, we did actually see the decap coming from Moonpie. That was a fantastic one there, using the knockback on his air attunement and then the emote on his earth. So holding Rom off, knowing he didn't have any of his cooldowns, and getting that decaps actually meant that they have some chance of coming back into this game. You said the lead was at 70 points, it's still at 70 points. It hasn't progressed any further, and they are the one getting the kills. They are going for the engage here, but it looks like oRNG don't want them to get engaged. They're the ones going for the engage, and they're actually pushing out on top of Skullkid. He's going to drop quite low. Rom is being chased down by Red Levin though, but he is going to be able to survive for now. Skullkid dropping much, much lower, is forced completely off the point, and that's going to leave Red Levin and Moonpie without their main support. Oh,
Red Levin getting taken down there by Tage as he drops that ring of warding, which really puts him in a situation. He just knocked into it there. Tage did a good job at just sectioning him off in that fight and pulling him out there. I'm going to see the mine fight kind of, just that 1v1. We're going to see probably Misha just going down there, just as I pan to him. It was good timing, Syndra able to get that burst. Although we are going to see actually Moonpie and also Skullkid try and get the res on Misha. Successful. Tage comes in as Syndra as well. I'm going to be able to bunker on that point. They need some support. Here comes Rom. This is where it's much better now. Their support's coming out. When they've got Rom in the fights, they're winning most of those team fights as well. We are going to see on the other side of the map as well, Frey's going to pick up that node. Zan's in a ton of trouble as he goes into that vamp room proc as well. Gets the heal off. He's going to survive, but not going to have much joy very quickly over on that point to get it decapped. And blue team's lead is just starting to drift away very slowly, but they started to get the decap.
Red Levin and Misha, they stealthed up, they went for the burst, they brought down Rom instantly. That was fantastic, and that's all of the support gone on this node. They noticed he was left back a little bit, so they stealthed up, waited for him to be alone, and jumped straight on top of him without anyone to peel for him. He was instantly gone, and that means they can now maybe push on towards the midpoint, and this could be their gateway to coming back into this game.
Maybe. It's quite a lot of points now, 137. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, they should be able to get the nice wipe on the team. They could easily come back if they get the 2 cap and the concessional 0 node. For the moment, 3 minutes almost until the end of the game. Misha goes down, unfortunately, over on the midpoint. Drops that portal, but not able to get through it in time. We are going to see him potentially go down here as well, as Moonpie really is trying to come into the node. And obviously not going for that res there. It's so low. Just need to try and stay on the point and actually get that decap. That's going to be the key thing that's going to bring them back into this game. Although low. We have seen the henge successfully defended by the blue team now as Rom starts to just defend versus Red Levin. Probably not going to be, he's actually going to push too far. He's actually distracting Red Levin. So I think Syndra can come in and maybe get some damage off himself, although he's going to go back up towards mid now and try and get something out of this fight over here. But I don't think at the moment, the way it's going, Red team are going to be able to pull this back at all. It's way too late in the day.
Yeah, Red Levin does get the res up on Zan, but like you said, this is a little bit too late in the day for a comeback here. Engineer now going down on mid as well, so they have the potential. They definitely have the potential to beat this team. They've shown that. They had a 3 cap at one stage of this game, but sadly, the team with a 3 cap isn't going to be taking this one home, and that's just how good I think both of these two teams are doing right now. Is that, you know, on one side you're good enough to sustain a 3 cap for a certain period of time, but on the other side, neither team loses hope and they keep chasing after that. And we saw that with Round 55 Dragons keep on trying to come back in this game, but sadly it is going to be oRNG taking this first match in the semi-final of the ESL Go4GW2 Cup number 27. Congratulations to them, and we'll be going on to Legacy of the Profile.
Indeed. Good stuff from these guys coming out today. God, we're really cracking on. So, we had quite, that 3 cap. They kind of got that, and then the whole game just switched as soon as Rom got into those fights. As soon as Rom got into those team fights, the whole game just completely changed. And then 55 just weren't able to, it's weird calling them 55 and they're not called 55 HP monks, but still doing the same kind of thing. But no, I'm not sure anything massive is going to change up over on this team. Oh, my voice is so hoarse at the moment. Red 11, it's just awful. I'm struggling to speak now. Okay, so let's go over to Zan, see if he's going to change anything up. How can we see Red Team Cup actually combat this kind of DPS team that comes in? And what happens with Rom is that they can, if they can take him out, they can come back. But they weren't able to take advantage of that when they went over towards the keep. After taking him out, actually, Misha went down in the end. And if anything, they kind of just started to lose out again. So even those rotations and those key kills on key players over on the blue team, or oRNG actually kind of sustained quite well. But that was, you know, after that 3 cap and when Rom started to go into those team fights. Maybe they just needed a bit of a warm-up as well.
Well, I mean, it's very difficult for Misha and Red Levin to find the space to kill Rom when they're being trained down by a thief and 2 DPS guardians. That is very, very difficult. They only found they found the way to do it once, which was like that happened over on the mine node when they stayed together. They stealthed up and they waited for their opportunity to strike him and kill him instantly. And they do have to just wait for those pickoffs on Rom. Otherwise, they're just going to have to look to poke and hopefully kill off the other DPSs. If they can enter a fight with one of the DPS guardians dead or the thief dead, then maybe they can go for the mower and the kill on Rom. But other than that, they're just going to be trained down so hard by the triple DPS train on the enemy team that they really have to play very, very carefully. Another thing in that game, we saw Zan going far very, very, very often, and it didn't work all that well. Of course, Elixir S is going to give her a little bit of potential in terms of surviving and fighting on far. But it didn't really help him too much. So I wonder if this game he will just be holding close. And of course he is an engineer, so we can hold close, go up on the side, help range down with those grenades and the rest of his support, including his crate. And that's something that he can add to the team. Engineer was supporting his team very, very well last game, while holding his home node quite often. Whereas Zan was often trying to push far. He'd often die because there were supports coming back. So hopefully this game I can see a little bit more coming in from Zan. I know he's certainly a lot more comfortable with this map, as most engineer players probably are. So yeah, I hope to see him have a bit of a bigger impact.
It's right, actually, and I mean, it is kind of unusual to see Zan push so far. I mean, he does, but not very often, normally looking after his back point. I think he will, like you say, probably do that more a bit in this game. I wonder if we're going to see, there isn't really any significant changes. 2 DPS Guardians still, Syndra on Thief, the Engineer on NG, Rom on Warrior. But having no Elementalist seems to be making everything okay for oRNG at the moment as they push on to potentially go into this final for today. But at the moment we're in the semi-final. I have rank 55 Dragons versus Orange Logo, the reigning WTS champions at the moment. As we think about the cash and we think about the points, and we also think about Mr. Divok taking us through this place.
We see a bit of a less aggressive engage coming out from oRNG this time. Rather than sending 5 people to the enemy's home node, they aren't sending anyone. They're sending 2 to their close though, so expecting the rotation coming out from 55, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're sending 3 people to this node, although Denshin is already pulled away from it. Frey using that line of sight very, very nicely to try and survive here, but I don't think you're going to last too long. Zam going for that cheeky point blank number 3 on the toolkit there, but Frey has popped the focus shield. He's going to be able to heal through this as well, so he's saving a little bit of time, and they're going to get a 3-man rotation to make it a 4v3 over on this point. Very, very well played by Frey, using that heal as a defensive mechanism rather than heal to survive long enough for his team to come in, and now Zan's the focus target. He's being brought low, he's stuck in that ring of warding, he isn't going anywhere. He had the Vampirism proc, but that's not going to save him anymore. Zan's going to die. Luckily it's on point though, so just about in time, but does get knocked off straight away. So very, very nice rotation coming out from oRNG. And of course Rom, he does get mowed on the midpoint actually. He's getting a drop very, very low. They are going to be able to bring him down before his team come in. So unless they can get the very, very quick disrupt, which they don't, they're going to struggle to fight for a long period of time on this point.
They should be able to pick up the win now if they've got enough members over on this node. Having lost 1 player each now, Red Team are fully on this, well, they need to be fully on this point to maybe take advantage of that. But they're actually thinking about the waterfall still, and they are probably going to pick up this kill maybe against Denshi. Look at the fast movement coming out from Tage and also Syndrome there now as they get the focus down onto Misha. Misha's main target, one of the main targets they'll always pick up, because as you rightly said before, if he's being chased down, he has to think about his survival, he can't think about his damage, and actually has to reposition in different points in time. He's gone over to Sword Torch now as another note, as Denshi drops quite low here on the point. I mean, it's still looking okay for oRNG on this point at the moment as they start to try and get some damage onto Misha, but as that happens, Denshinier drops into that Vampirism rune proc, and he's going to go into the down state in the end as so many conditions are dropped onto him, and now the focus can go onto Tage unless a res comes out for Denshi, which is not going to happen, and Tage actually decides to disengage fully here.
And meanwhile, we've just got the 1v1 between Rom and Zan on mid, and a 1v1 on far between Frey and Skullkid there. So Skullkid managing to win that one out. I think it was just a decap coming out from Frey. Mid staying decap for now. Zan trying to fight 1v3 here at the moment. I think he's probably just looking to hold the contestation until he can get some more members in. Speaking of which, here comes Red Levin, but Zan's already being trained down. He's had that vamp proc. He now has to run for his life, but he's stuck in a ring of warding. That's not where you want to be after your Vampirism rune proc. He does have the gear shield just in time, and he's actually going to be able to get out of this one. That Elixir S has actually saved his life this time, managing to get a pull on Tage. They're going to try and put some pressure onto him now instead, but all of the members of Red Team are low. If you look in the top left-hand corner of your screen here, you can see that most of them are dropping relatively low, whereas there may only be 4 members of oRNG, but they're all pretty full.
Yeah, Zan's really got the focus on him. Look at Moonpie's focus on trying to regenerate his health and give him some protection as he starts to bail away from that fight. And as that happens, actually Tage gets a lot of pressure from him as the Thief comes down. Red Levin and also Moonpie and Misha there getting a nice ton of damage on. Wallafrey's going to go for the res. He doesn't want to do that because he's going to get focused hard as well. He does stop that res after a very short time, and actually, you know, a good move from him not to do that so he can keep this fight sustained with Rom and actually make sure that Red Team aren't going to be advanced onto that point. But they are going to start moving the fight over towards Quarry now, actually, where Denshinier and also Syndrome are defending. Although I'm not sure that's going to happen. Moonpie is going to stay on node 1v1 to just keep it contested. Misha's going to drop in as well, though.
Yeah, it was sad to see them lose their DPS guy in mid, and Rom did have his banner, so I wonder what they're saving that for. Maybe they're thinking of a big push coming out soon, but just a quick note. The point score, we're nearly 5 minutes into this game, and it's only 124 to 40. And the 40 is the side of oRNG. oRNG have not got onto this map yet. They're winning these engagements, but 55 round dragons are just feeding the flame. They're keeping it going, and I'm pretty sure the majority of oRNG's points are just from kills alone.
I mean, at the moment, yeah, the mid-cap's solid, but they are just losing these side nodes. I mean, mobility-wise, that's probably one of the reasons. I mean, Misha's able to get over it quite quickly. I don't think he's not uses that portal as well to move out. I can see Denshi and Tage moving back out towards the mid now. Actually using that Scepter 2 to make sure no one's coming up from behind. Tage just slowing them up, as well as also getting a little bit caught himself. Needs to try and get out of that mobilize. No assistance is coming out from him. Should be okay as the rest of the guys start to move up now, as Rom's offering that support as well. Tage going to use that 5 skill on the focus to make sure that he can block that damage and move back over towards the mid. They're starting to slowly retreat now, which is actually probably quite a good idea. Although Rom's being very offensive here, moving right into the forward into the back line, and actually enables Tage and Syndrome to push right with them. But they're not able to push past these defences of the red team. And in fact, because they pushed so far, we actually saw a down coming out and Rom had to use his banner over on the mid.
Yeah, oRNG are wholeheartedly rotating at the moment, and I'm not entirely sure it's going to work out for them. As we said in the previous game, the fights have to revolve around Rom because he is where all of their support is. Denchner has a little bit of support, of course, with his heal, but that's about as far as it goes, and Rom can't be on side nodes all at once. This map is actually quite long in terms of going side node to side node, especially for someone who doesn't have that much mobility, and especially supporting a team with next to no mobility. So you see them wholeheartedly committing to that push there, but then they realise they've lost someone back on their midpoint. Their person that was holding the midpoint has been taken out, just because the rotation coming out from 55 Rank Dragons is absolutely fantastic. We are going to see an aggressive move towards the waterfall here, jumping straight on top of Red Levin, who does manage to get out of the ring of warding, luckily. He very, very nearly met a quick end there, but then gets brought straight back down again. What a Frey and Tage, making sure that Red Levin doesn't have any space on this map. So taking out that mobility might give Cinder a chance to move for a decap as he stealths up just now.
I saw Misha going for looking for Syndranir as that proc came out from the Vampirism rune as well, and unfortunately in the end not able to do that. Tage is, wow, okay, that's an interesting new camera angle. Tage also getting a bit of focus on him as he moves back onto the point, and knockback comes out as well. Moonpie is just going to bunker down on the node. Misha very low himself. I'm going to see a supply crate drop as well as he comes back onto the point using that distortion to try and survive. Needs to get out of here. He's not going to be able to. Syndranir just jumps onto him, takes him really low and into the down state, and the cleave is so magical on his body as he is going to be cleaved completely out very quickly here. And Tage as well, going straight for the offensive. He's dead. Next man up is going to be Zan. Zan's dropping very low himself, needs to try and get away from the node. And as Tage just gets a bit of a stun on him there as well as he encounters Moonpie and that. Oh god, I can't remember the ability on the air. The lightning shield. Oh my god.
Static shield.
That's the one. Just lost it. So he did get stunned there, unfortunately. Good time to use that so that Zan can actually get away, but unfortunately still drops in the end over on this waterfall node. And they've actually gone for the complete switch around on the map, but they're not guarding Quarry at the moment.
Yep, it's oRNG going for the 3 cap here. They've got the side nodes, well, somewhat got the side nodes, and they're pushing for the fight on mid. Moonpa's already down here, so they're going to be able to take the advantage here. Misha's getting focused down by Cinder, so they should be able to clean up on all 3 nodes. Surprising that Denchi didn't stick with the fight with Skull Kid, nearly losing the full cap there, as he should be able to at least knock Skull Kid off node and get the full decap and recap, as we see him knocking out there, and we have some rotations coming around. So it's going to be an oRNG triple cap coming out very, very shortly. They are 100 points behind though, so is the comeback real? Can oRNG still pull out those magical comebacks? 100 points down on Legacy of O5, of course, doesn't mean too much because there's a boss just around the corner that's worth 150. I wonder if we'll be seeing any boss kills coming out in this game, especially with a triple pain train coming out from oRNG. It certainly seems like it would be in their favour to go for a boss kill.
Yeah, the problem is for the red team is, you know, blue team, they have tons of options at the moment as they start to come back into the game. Red team, not many, because they're only just getting their 5th respawn back into the game, so they're going to be outnumbered in different places. So the red team's engagement over on the waterfall isn't too bad, but the thing is they know they're going to be at some point outnumbered actually. Red Levin is kind of stuck in that Shadow Refuge as the Scepter 2's dropped onto him, and he gets put into Vampirism Rune proc as well. He goes into that Vapor Form, of course, which is going to mean he can disengage here. Zan's just kind of, you know, he's involved on this side point skirmish at the moment with Rom, so this is a good place for them to actually keep Rom. No one's coming into his aid. We are going to see Tage move in there quite quickly now as well. Syndranir and also Misha in a bit of a situation. But we've seen 2 downs across the map in 2 vital places. This is a good regroup from 55 rank, from rank 55 Dragon Sawyers. Denshi is out of the point over on the quarry. And this is a really, really close game again now, as the full free cap is completely diminished. And yeah, we're contested across the map. And if anything, rank 55 are going to pick up the quarry.
Yeah, I really like that regroup coming out from rank 55 Dragons. Of course, we often speak of regroups as people grouping up as 5 or 4 and pushing onto one node. But 55 rank Dragons, knowing that oRNG aren't very good at fighting in multiple instances because they only have one full supporting character in Rom, they choose to go for the double side cap again. And that's how they got this lead in the first place, was going for the side caps. And they did it again, and they, like you said, they got important kills across the map. Rom was dropping very, very low. They got the kill on Freya, the kill on Denchner, and now they're going to be able to get the side cap nodes.
If they had taken out Rom there as well at mid, That would have been magical, but unfortunately the banner, well, not able to in the end. Misha goes down. They actually got the banner back up and reversed the damage onto Rom. Now they've definitely got him in the down state, and they should be able to pick up the point, and maybe even the free cap switch from the blue team with orange logo back to the red. They're taking turns, and I remember 55 HP Monks being one of the best teams at regrouping in such a horrible losing situation, and they've done that, but unfortunately now, even though that's happened, they are really in a bad position now. They need to think about going for the side points and holding those as they are. Misha's probably going to do that now and actually just range from a side. We can see Zan going to the waterfall as they start to lose 2 or 3 members over on the mid. And they need to be very, very careful that they're not going to actually commit too much. It's not
that was
too bad.
A pivotal point in that fight was Rom getting back up.
Yeah.
They had him down. He was very, very low, and if they cleaved him down, they would have been able to get, I think it was Red Levin who was in the down state, back up. But the hard res on Rom was very, very good, and they get him back up. They're now going to look to go for, again, the 3 cap. So both teams are certainly not happy with just having 1 point in their name. They both want this 3 cap. They're all going for the whole map aggression. And at the moment, it seems to be benefiting oRNG, who are all pretty much full health.
As soon as Rom gets involved in that fight, Misha and also also Red Levin moved to mid straight away, and they actually were very patient. They tried to take What Up Frey off mid and take him out there. They didn't get the cap. They probably could have. They need to be careful here as Tage comes into the point, and he's going to be taken out from behind. Misha wasn't aware. Rom comes in as well, and the banner's going to be good. And this fight goes completely in the other direction as soon as Rom gets involved. But red team can think about going for a potential Lord Rush now. We have got the actual red team door down. So they're thinking about it as well. Let the start move.
For the Lord Rush.
Yeah.
oRNG and Cinder heading through the gate now. Their 2 DPS Guardians are also on their way, with Denchini following in behind. I think What Up Frey might stay back and just try and hold this point in contention. Try and hold a couple of players back as well. There are currently 2, maybe 3 members of red team looking to defend this as the rest of blue team move in.
Yeah, Rom's moving in for the push now. Syndronic gets that Venom on the actual Lord there as well. We've got the target up, good man. And he's still on about 80% HP. We're going to see that Swirling Wings coming out. Down to about 50% now as well, as we've seen other players moving into the point. Skull Kid starts to come in as well to offer a bit of support. Nice fear there, so they can get some damage off onto the Lord. Coming out from Rom. He's going to get the heal. No, he's not. It's going to be interrupted. Good job. Tage comes in as well. Doing a ton of burst there. They're going to bring the Lord down easy. Blue team take the second game, orange logo, going through to the final, and we will see rank 55 Dragons another day.
Yeah, very, very good fight coming out from 55 there. If this was any other map, then it looked like they may well have been able to take this one away from oRNG, as oRNG were a bit lost at the end there. I didn't quite know where they were going, what they were doing, trying to split over all points and not quite getting them. But no, a very, very nice and clean Lord takedown. I especially liked Tage's use of Ring of Warding. He didn't use it to trap the Lord or anything whatsoever like that. They had the Lord pinned up in a corner, and he just put a ring in the general area so that the enemy couldn't get to the Lord, couldn't save him, and couldn't offer that support, as we quite often see with engineers and warriors trying to bring their Lords back up in health. So fantastic and very clean cut Lord kill by those guys.
Beautiful work from orange logo there. Not having Blackjack in there is, I think, showing a bit. I think that extra support is showing, and I think rank 55 Dragons, you know, they could probably maybe take them on a different day. But today, orange logo are going to go through to the final. We're going to see you very soon. We're going to go to the AFK screen, bring some tunes, and we'll see you very soon for potentially the final. We'll see how well the other semi-final is going as well. I'll update the brackets on your screen, as well as mods. We'll be putting those in chat as well. Thanks, guys. We'll see you very soon.